I think Newcastle are relegated this season. There was a period where Newcastle could have drastically changed their fortunes. In Rafa Benitez, they had a manager with a CV that boasted Liverpool, Inter Milan, Chelsea, and Napoli. How do you go from managing Real Madrid to relegation threatened Newcastle? When Benitez was appointed as Newcastle manager, they were 19th on the log and he had 10 games to try and save them from relegation. He was unable to do so, but the fight went down to the wire and Sunderland survived by 2 points. They had an incredible run under Benitez. In the final 6 games of the season, they were unbeaten and drew to City and Liverpool. They also smashed Tottenham 5-1 on the final match day. Despite being relegated, Benitez stuck with Newcastle and they bounced back immediately, winning the championship in the process. Ahead of their return to the Premier League, Newcastle splashed just under £45 million on their signings, which included Christian Atsu, Florian Lejeune, Jacob Murphy, Hostelu, and Mikel Merino. This £45 million was offset by player sales amounting to £21 million, excluding the undisclosed fees of CM de Jong, Emmanuel Riviera, and Kevin Mbabu, who impressed at the Euros with his crossing ability. Newcastle started the 2017-18 season with a mixed bag of results. By match day 6, they had won 3 and lost 3 of their fixtures and sat 10th on the table. From then until Christmas, they had a horrible run of results, winning just twice, yet they occupied 15th spots. From the turn of the year till match day 33, their results improved significantly and they sat in 10th spot. They would go on to lose 4 of their remaining 5 fixtures, but incredibly, they sat in 10th spot throughout these 4 match days. It was like if they lost, the team beneath them would also drop points. Newcastle won their last league game of the season, and 10th spot was theirs, although this was only because they had a superior goal difference to Crystal Palace. They had the 7th tightest defence in the league. An impressive first full season back in the English top flight for Newcastle. Ahead of the 2018-19 season, Benitez added more defensive reinforcements to his squad. They confirmed the signing of Martin Dubravka after a season-long loan and followed this up with Fabian Schär and Swansea's Federico Fernandez and defensive midfielder Ki Sung-yong. Benitez signings were once again offset with player sales, with the club generating a profit from the transfer window, underpinned by the sale of Mitrovic and Mikel Merino. Newcastle had a dismal start to the 2018-19 campaign. They were winless in their opening 10 league fixtures, having drawn 3 and lost 7. They were level on points with Huddersfield, but above them in 19th spot purely on goal difference. Newcastle will go on to win their next 3 fixtures, which would take them up to 13th spot. They would enter the relegation zone one more time before a markedly improved run, wherein they picked up 4 wins, a draw, and a loss, which gave them a boost in the lead up to their final 10 games of the season. In their final 5 games of the season, they lost 1, drew 1, and won 3, which included a 4-0 hammering of Fulham on the final day. They ended the campaign on 13th, with Palace above them this time around. There's a widespread rumor that Benitez split with Newcastle over their transfer policy. Benitez would have surely wanted some sort of transfer assurance if he was to continue, and I think the owner Mike Ashley was not budging. They then brought in Steve Bruce and a £40 million club record signing with the name of Joe Linton. They also signed Alan St. Maximin for £20 million. These transfers were offset by Ayoze Perez's departure to Leicester City for £30 million. They started the 2019-20 season poorly. By match day 10, they had 5 losses, 3 draws, and 2 wins. They strung a few decent results together and finished the season in 13th spot, but don't let this fool you. They had lost 4 of their last 5 fixtures in a season that was highlighted by their lack of goals. They mustered 38 goals and only outscored 3 teams. They also had a pathetic defense which conceded 58 goals, and their goal difference was only worse off than 4 teams, 3 of which were relegated. Ahead of the 2020-21 season, they brought in Bournemouth's Ryan Fraser and Callum Wilson in an attempt to reinvigorate the Magpies' attack. They started the season well, and by match day 7, the team were in 11th place. From that point onwards, we saw the same old Newcastle. They would go on to lose 12 of their next 18 fixtures, winning 4 and drawing 2. The club then stabilized itself with 3 draws as they prepared to head into the tail end of the campaign. These draws were really season defining. They coincided with Dubravka back in the nets and Joe Willock on the pitch. They won 5 of their last 8 fixtures, scoring 10 goals in the final 4 fixtures. They won 5 of their last 8 league fixtures, scoring 10 goals in the final 4 matches. Willock has found the net in 7 consecutive Premier League appearances and is the youngest player in Premier League history to do that. Disclaimer: he was unable to play against parent club Arsenal, who are one of the teams Newcastle faced in this period. More people would have been talking about Joe Willock's sensational form if it hadn't been for Lingard's antics at West Ham. In Steve Bruce's second season in charge, he guided them to a 12th place finish. Unbelievable. Dubravka missed much of this 2020-21 season due to a heel bone injury that required surgery. Kyle Darlow played in 25 of their 38 league fixtures and kept 4 clean sheets, conceding 43 goals in the time. Martin Dubravka played in the remaining 13 league fixtures and only conceded 19 goals. I'm sure having him back in the squad this time around will help their defensive record. The key to Newcastle is Jonjo Shelvey. He is the one that can change the game for them instantly. He just needs to get his head up and see the movement of Saint Maximin. Shelvey has a physicality, vision, and distribution. I'd like to see Miguel Almiron on the ball more often. He can feed Saint Maximin and Wilson, who can come up with the goods. Wilson is an established centre forward who I think Newcastle were lucky to get in the first place. It's that third attacking player that they can't seem to find, the last piece of the puzzle. Is there someone in the squad who can stand up and force themselves into the starting lineup? Willock showed that it's possible. I thought Christian Atsu was their player for them. However, it appears that he had been frozen out of the squad. I think Ademola Lookman should sign for them. He's actually a RB Leipzig player and was on loan at Fulham during the last campaign. He looked very comfortable in the Fulham setup and was their main attacking source. Lookman topped the Fulham charts for shots, on-target shots, assists, crosses, chances created, and big chances created. From all the Premier League attackers that had more than 30 league appearances, he ranked 3rd for fouls and 4th for tackles, yet he only picked up 5 yellow cards in the process. He also ranked 3rd for interceptions using the same metric. Lookman has really impressed last season, and I thought his former club Everton would have wanted to add them to their ranks. However, they opted for Demarai Gray. Newcastle have conceded 120 Premier League goals over the last 2 seasons. Only Southampton have conceded more, with 128, but they can be forgiven considering they conceded 18 of those goals in 2 fixtures. For me, their relegation comes down to the inconsistency of their defense. None of their defenders made more than 30 league appearances last season. This time out, I'm sure you will see Newcastle in the relegation battle, and I don't back Steve Bruce to weather the storm. I don't think they are going to retain their Premier League status. I think the owner has wanted to sell the club for a while, and he hasn't devoted sufficient resources for them to compete. I'm not sure what the goals are for the club or what direction they're headed. They could prove me wrong with a top half finish. Since their return to the Premier League, they finished 10th, 13th twice, and now 12th. Until we meet again.